for the dog trainers, and actually maybe for everybody, I guess this would apply in most professions, but for the dog trainers who look at my page, a big thing to think about is professionalism. So there's a real thing, like, that sometimes people seem to believe that in order to think somebody's good at their job, they should also like them. And that's really not the case. Sometimes, like, I know some people who I would describe as being phenomenal at their job that I don't personally get along with all that well. I mean, I would be able to work with them, I'd be able to go to meetings with them, and I'd be able to progress tasks with them, but I perhaps wouldn't choose to socialise with them. And that's and it's a really important thing, because I think sometimes that gets lost in social media a little bit, because it can become like a bit of a personality thing. And I think sometimes it's easy to get lost in that I don't like that person and therefore nothing that they do is of value. It's unlikely to be the case. I do kind of see that going about my face, that sort of thinking going about my Facebook occasionally. And it's really not true. So there is that whole, it's partly being able to be a bit professional about it and to step back from how you might feel about somebody and looking at what they're actually doing. Because sometimes, I mean, not so much in dog training actually, but certainly in other jobs that I've had, I've worked sometimes with people that I really don't like at all, rather not be in their company. But if asked, I would always say, no, they're really, really good at their job, because they typically are. I mean, most of the people I've worked with have been very, very good at their jobs. So it's about being able to stand back from your person, how you kind of look at somebody and feel personally, and how you think they are at doing their job. And they're not likely to do everything the way you would. That none of us are. Just because they would do some things differently doesn't mean they're terrible at their job. It just means that they would do things differently. And I think that it's like a really important, I always think it's a self-confidence thing. When I see people writing lengthy posts, giving, like, with thinly veiled, it's unusual for people to name the person they're slagging off. They usually just give enough identifying details so that if you're in the know, you know who's being talked about. And but I think when people are doing that, I often wonder, is this a bit of jealousy? Jealousy's a wee bit like that. You feel it and you can't always identify the emotion correctly. So what you feel is, I don't like that person. Because that has very much happened to me in the past. When I was starting with Kalgakis to deal with his issues, there was a woman who's a really, really good friend of mine. She has been such a help and support to me over the years. Absolutely amazing person. And when I first knew her on social media, I immediately said, I don't like her. And the reason that I said that was because she had dogs that were no problem at all, and she had a really nice relaxed time when she was out with her dogs, and that was not what life was like for me. So I decided that she was one of those people that aren't careful enough with their dogs, because she wasn't stressed all the time. And it was nothing but jealousy. I mean, it was just jealousy. I would read this woman's posts about what she was doing, and it would be jealousy, but jealousy is a hard emotion to identify sometimes. So what I would say if people ask me was, I don't like her. I don't like her because I don't think she's careful enough, and I think that people like her cause me problems, which was nonsense, complete and utter nonsense. And when I did eventually meet her, we became very good friends. She has really helped me over the years. Her dogs were one of the first dogs that I ever let Roxy run around with. They were in among the first group, and the reason that it was those dogs was because I knew, I had 100% confidence in my friend that her dogs would be sensible around Roxy. Because I didn't know Roxy came to me as an adult female staffy with no background. I had no idea what she was like really with other dogs. So So I wanted her to be mixing with dogs, first of all, that I was quite confident about, and that was why this particular friend of mine was somebody I spoke to very early on. So, but jealousy's like that, and I think that happens in between dog trainers as well. So these thinly veiled "I don't like them" posts, it often reads to me as, I think that's a little bit of jealousy. It's they are doing something and they're more successful than I think they should be, and I'm jealous of that, or envious of that. It can be a really negative thing, and it also, in my experience, can really stunt your own growth. Imagine if I'd continued with my stance about my friend. Honestly, my life would be so different now, and worse. So, and I think it's the same with dog trainers. You don't have to be, everybody's best mate, but I would advise that if you find yourself tempted to write one of these thinly veiled "I don't like them" posts with just enough information that people in the know can identify them, that maybe that's somebody you can learn something from. Almost certainly that's somebody that you can learn something from. They might never be your best friend. It might not work out the way it did with my friend and I, but almost certainly that's somebody there that's got something that you need to learn. Because it's that feeling of discomfort that often is a real signpost that this is something that you could learn. So yeah, and I also, just because I have worked in a financial services, in fairly serious office-based jobs in a tightly regulated industry for over 2 decades, I just don't think it's a good thing to get into the habit of, is slagging off other people working in your field. It kind of comes across as a little bit unprofessional. I know that it comes from often it's coming from quite an emotional place. But I think there is a time when you need to kind of say to your emotions, now steady on, maybe we won't write that, maybe I'll go and talk to my friend about that, so that I'm not just putting it out in the public, in quite a public domain. And remember, anything you write on Facebook, is very, very easy to screenshot Facebook posts and share them around. So assume that anything you write on Facebook is completely public, unless you've tied it down and it's like 4 or 5 of unless it's a handful of your very trusted friends, in which case that's unlikely to happen. But often people are writing these to a group of people, some of whom they don't even know, because I've seen these sorts of posts from people that I don't know, but they're friends of mine on Facebook. And so yes, it can be a little bit unprofessional, and also I think it's holds you back. So I would suggest that when you get that feeling of, I don't like them, I don't like what they do, that if they're broadly coming from the same place as you, I'm not suggesting that when you look at the guy down the road with the electric shock collars, that when you're a clicker trainer, that you go off and try and learn from him. You probably could learn some things from him, but it might not be an ideal learning environment. But I would suggest if it's another trainer who uses a clicker in their training and maybe doesn't do exactly what you do, or maybe is approaching their business in a way that's different from the way that you are, and as a result you feel like you don't like them, I would suggest that you've got that they will be able to teach you something. So it might be something to explore, is seeing if there's a way that you can learn from that person. Probably right now there will be, because right now everybody is going online, so this is a great time to learn from people that you have maybe felt a little bit, they make me feel bad. Anyway, just a few thoughts on managing social media in those sorts of situations, because you do, it's difficult not to see people doing things and go, I wish I'd thought of that, or, well, I wouldn't have done that, when I'm not sure I approve of that. You will come across those things. It's how you deal with them that matters. It's the behaviour that you exhibit to the world, because you are talking to the world. And if you're a professional dog trainer, likely a lot of people who are either clients now or who are potential clients are watching as well. And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't feel nice to see people being slagged off. So I think it can be a little bit off-putting if you're seen doing too much of that on social media. Anyway, thanks for watching. Bye for now.